Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment of the Rearview series. And I feel like, okay, I get some sort of low-end form of simmering comment rage where every one of these installments, every Rearview installment gets at least one comment, and I know now that I've addressed it, I'm going to hear it even more. I know. I'm stoking a fire. I can still get those. You can still get those. Yeah, you probably can, okay? We have the tire of the day. It's in the thumbnail. It's at the ProLine Moab in M3 compound, which is their fancy pre-G8. I remember M3 from like the Masher 2Ks. I remember M3 compound from my Stampede days, way back in the olden times. Probably introduced to the A-Main catalog. Oh, I can look it up. This product was added to our catalog on February 1st, 2008. So, this tire is discontinued. You can't get it. Can you still find them? Yes. That's not what I mean. If I want to buy this, a J Concepts 2.2 LP Tusk, I can buy it basically anywhere that it isn't out of stock. I can find them on Amazon. I can find them through Horizon. I can get them through A-Main. I can order them directly from J Concepts. You can't buy these anymore. Can you find them? Yes. I could go out right now and buy an original, full manual, no electric Smith Corona typewriter. Click, clack, click, clack, click. Do they still make those? No! But you can still get them. I have an iPhone 8 right here on the bench. They don't make those anymore. This is an Airtronics MT4, not an MT4S, an MT4 made by Airtronics. Airtronics doesn't exist anymore. Can you still get these radios? Yeah, you can still find them. But they're gone. Airtronics as a company is gone. I love to start every video with a rant. I know people love a rant. Yes, you can still find an M3 ProLine Moab, but you can't buy them anymore. Do you understand what I mean? If I want to go to the store, I can buy things that are still made. I can't buy things that aren't made anymore. I can't buy discontinued things. You can find a pair of these from a hobby shop in Italy or a set from China or what. Because you can get them doesn't mean you can buy them. Because if your buddy out on the rocks sees them and says, "Oh, where did you get those?" "Oh, I ordered them from a hole-in-the-wall place in Malaysia." You got them. You didn't buy them. I have a distinction between the two. I can go buy another one of these. This is a DeWalt water repellent sweatshirt. I bought it at the Home Depot. I could go buy another one right now. I can't tell you where to buy another set of these right now. Could have it in a couple weeks, maybe. 127, that should be like right at 5 inches. And these claim, I want to say on the sidewall, they say 4.95. So they're actually a little up. The foam is pretty soft. By 53. I think they say 2 1/4. 2.17. I don't know. 2 1/8 would be right there. Would I be willing to? It's a little narrower than that. It's a little narrower than that. And it's a fairly puffy foam. We should do absolutely fine on our man Wolverine. And as we're continuing the rants on this while we're going, another repeated comment that I've addressed in other videos, and I'm going to address right here. I don't know where people are getting the idea that this is some sort of magical monster, this mythical beast that slays all lines. This is an Intigy cage for AX10. You can still find them on the internet for about 35 bucks. These are Amazon axles, Amazon servo, Amazon shocks, whatever links I found to fit. The axles were okay. Had to replace the drive shafts and the internal stubs. Axles come out to about 150 bucks. About 35 for the cage. That is a Stealth X, which I got off of Amazon, again, for about for $53. A secure Escape 70 combo, which was motor and ESC together, for about $70. As this guy sits, when we bolt these on right here. Now, we can't, on a test rig, I don't count the cost of the wheels nor the tires because he's testing them too. So those things don't specifically count. Those taken away, this vehicle is less than $400. It has, to my memory, 3 fabricated parts. I made this, if you want to call this a fabricated part. The top of the cage was getting really scratched up from him landing on his lid all the time. And then for an instructional episode, I made these 2 links. Did I need to? No, I could have just gotten them out of a bin. But there's nothing... This is... Oh, no, I forgot. I cut out of angle this little piece. Because that assists the performance, the little electronics tray that sits in the back. There's nothing... I didn't even pay attention when I chose the link mounting holes. I did it by the length of the link that I had. He has had no major... That has twisted over. He has had no major changes made. I'm just hoping that this cage is held together with 4 spot welds on either side. What this vehicle is capable of when we're out on rock is almost exclusively down to the tire that he's fitted with, because that's what a test rig should be. And you could reproduce this at home. Oh man, I forgot I made this little battery holder too. It has some definite quality of life pieces. This thing, the electronics tray, this guy, you know. Yeah, I think that covers it. In terms of the vehicle, it's off-the-shelf stuff. It's off-the-shelf stuff, which is definitely what we want if we're going to go out and test things, because then we feel like we can isolate that the vehicle isn't exclusively responsible for how good the tires are doing. If that was the case, we would just take a Sportsman out there and we would test all the Class 3 tires on a Sportsman. This is the second tire that I would call, I call them Class 1, Class 3s, because they're 5 inches tall, and that's not appreciably bigger than, you know, I mean, here's just a normal C2. It's 8 millimeters wider and 5-6 millimeters taller. It's not huge. It's not Tutu Baja Claw, you know? So, for whatever that's worth. It's not the rig. It's not me. I have an ability to manipulate vehicles sufficiently to, I think, test the things that we're testing. And I was conscientious enough that I mounted all 4 tires in the correct direction with the little prongy facing forward. Those aiming backward would not be great. And that is for another one, for somebody who's going to say, run them backwards! And now that I've said it, one of the first few comments on this video is going to be, run them backwards. No. While there is a subset of a sub-quest of a main quest to find a tire that is actually functionally better reversed, still hasn't happened. We've tested a good bit over 100 tires, and of tires that are either directional, implied directionality, implicitly directional, like a canyon trail. Canyon trails, horrible backwards. Pin seekers, terrible backwards. Baja Pros and Tusks, doesn't really matter. You can kind of fiddle it around. Sometimes if you're running backwards on the rear, it's a little bit better for dig. Any tire that is what I call directionally asymmetrical, which is the tread on one half of the tire is different from the tread on the other half, like Jetco Adventurers, doesn't matter. Like, they were hapless forward, they were hapless backward. This tire will work its best in the rotation, which is not noted, but is implied. This is an implicit tread direction, because those things need to, much as like a Genius, we know it goes that way. It doesn't go that way. It goes that way. That's the way they work. So, I shouldn't be getting this heated. We're just here to do tire tests. So, let's head out to where the rocks live and do a tire test. Class 3 protocol. Here's hoping the nut behind the wheel can remember what order the obstacles go in. I don't know if this is our first M3 test, but it might be. I don't remember. I can't recall if we've tested any ProLines that weren't G8 or Predator. But if we haven't, we have now. We're on the obstacle. Look at that. Could just do a little steady stater there. It is the high 40s. So this is kind of Predator weather. We'll do a straight over the bean, no steering inputs. Look at you go. I will say right now, from my recollections, which grow hazier with every passing moment. Let me see. We got a little bound up on the steady state there, a little bit around. You can see the pumpkin. This is that class 3, class 1 action. There we go. As soon as we get the pumpkin over it, we're good to go. Okay, let's stay in it, see if we flop out. We've had a little bit sharper turn. That just could be insert tire relationship. We are still always on the sub hunt for the non-excellent rear view tire. We're not getting there today. We're not. I'm not going to be happy until I pull that marker off with a suspension link. Let's try. You know what I am though? I'm really noticing the height. I would be on something a little bit smaller, shorter. This definitely lends to Wolverine not being the most capable rig out there. He's a bit too long and a bit too wide for this tire because it's barely 5 inches tall. I want to get right to there. Let's see. Little shutter. Really starts to pull. Yeah, there you go. All right, just one more. We were doing a real low steady state stuff there. It was pretty good. All right. I already have a number there, Moab. Changed my mind. Yeah, there you go. There you go. That was a reasonably common outcome for the slick rock portion. I don't. Am I getting jaded? Am I getting overloaded? Like we've seen too many good tires. So are we getting extra picky about what the tire does? Maybe a little. Because in those instances like this one, if a tire has been lost to the sands of time, I have to ask myself, could this job be done? Is this doing a job a Rover can't do? That's solid. We've got these little, right there. If we give it a little bit more input, we'll fall back. It's more fallbacks than I would like. Initially, there was a half-completed thought. The initial half-completed thought was, these feel a little more aggressive than the hammer. Not as much. Not as much. I feel like what we've experienced is, as the tire and insert are kind of getting to know each other a little better, traction is kind of leveling off almost. I don't think the insert is too firm for old Wolverine. Wolverine weighs 3,000 grams exactly. 3 kilos. He's mostly all metal. Turning circle is not as aggressive as others we've seen on here. And it's single stage, so we're going to get some sidewall roll. And we're going to get that pumpkin augered in a lot. Right there. There we go. But can you pull it? Can you pull it? No. Your results will certainly vary. If you are narrower, that's going to help a little bit. If your wheelbase is a little shorter, that's going to help a bit. There's a lot of rigs out there that can withstand a 5-inch tire and not stuff it into something you don't want to stuff it into. So there is that. But what we're looking at is traction profile, because the rig is not alchemical. It's not doing anything magical. So we're going off of what we've got. Because where we're going, and I know it's far too early to make a judgment, the Moab, perhaps by virtue of its age, by virtue of M3, something. It is the most, I mean, not an inch there. That was honestly its best performance so far was on the side hill. Not surprising, as it's shorter, so we're going to be more stable. It just, I think for me, what's holding the Moab down is like I guess I would call it immediacy, like the precision. When you're turning in, they feel a little slower than its immediate contemporaries. The Hammer, the Chisel, the Sedona. These are, and here's what we have to keep remembering. In terms of the tires of today, this is still, like, we don't have some special bespoke insert. We didn't do anything. We stuffed 4 single stage foams in these, and they go, and it doesn't turn as sharp as some others. Not surprising. I expected a little bit more directness to the drive. It's got some small hesitation, but like we can get super low. No, we'll put in steering input late. It's going to stay down, because if you do have something big and long, you're going to take advantage of a tire that is just that little bit shorter. This is the LP long before the LP was a thing. For basically 5x2. Like, it's, the problem is the test of these came pretty much immediately after Sedona's. Like, that was the last tire that was tested on him, and I mean, that's an impossible bar. The Moab, to me, and there's really no point in burying the lead, this feels to me a lot like, this is ProLine's Rover. It is, if I was looking for a traction profile, very similar to a Pink Dot Rover. This has the feel and the hallmarks of a Pink Dot Rover, which you can still buy. And they're about the size, well, Pink Dot Rover's wider, but you can get tricksy with your Rovers by manipulating them via insert. You can stand them up a little taller. Like the particular foam that, right there, the particular foam that went in these made them a little narrower and a little taller. And you can make a Rover much narrower and much taller. I'm desperately trying to remember the name of the company. Are they DJX? There's somebody on Amazon that sells dual stage for 2.2s. And then you can either fridge foam them, you can do whatever on the outer to stand them up taller. I did this with a set of White Dot Rovers, and they were tremendous, absolutely tremendous set up like that. Yeah, it's this is a tire that, yes, it is getting more of a critical eye because we've tested some truly exceptional old-timey rubber. These are very good, right? Like, they're going to get a score that is going to be, because I am writing it down, the board is right here. I am writing them down, but it's not going to be in that, it's not going to get a seat where the elites meet. It's close. But as Millencolin would say, no cigar. It is not more than I'll accept. This is tough. This is the toughest rear view that we've done so far, because everything had just been shinier and happier and was just progressing as such, where we were just getting more and more. And there was a point where we were going to have to hit the top, and then we did. It was the Sedona. It is the impossible measuring stick. The Moab, the Moab is merely great. Isn't that amazing? The Moab is merely great. It's not disgusting. It's not filthy. It's not gross. It is beyond competent. Relative to the tires of today, you can count the tires of today this good on one hand. But we can't get the left-hander. It's just so good, not enough. It kind of makes me happy, because we've been deprived of a great many things by the fickleness of the market. And this one is great, but not sublime. I do feel an obligation to try for the blind hander over here. We always try the ascent that I can't see. Oh, that looked real good. That looked real good to start. We're too far from the fence. Can we get back? Oh. Nope. Nope. Well, that's a thing we're doing. Is this an intractable position? Potentially. I don't know if I'm big on 5-inch tall 2.2s. It's in this weird middleness. It's in this weird middleness. Like, I wouldn't run a class 2 on here, and we are closer. Well, we're the same distance from a 2.2 LP as we are from a class 2, and I would take the 2.2 LP all day. That quarter of an inch. That's 7 or so millimeters. There we go. So while I think it may have been implied, we will state it directly. If you're on the global hunt for old-timey tires, and you can locate them, I would put the Moab right below the hammer, which is right below the chisel, which is right below the Sedona. So these are, these come in, if this were a swimming contest, these would come in 4th out of the 3 of the best swimmers that there ever have been. So you see what I'm saying? The Moab is just off the podium. It is very consistent in its performance, absolutely consistent. It is bouncing back and forth between 9.7s and 9.8s. Ooh, see? That's a 9.8. That's a 9.7. A lot of energy return, but very consistent. Yeah, they are, this is a solid 4th place tire. I don't know if I feel good or bad about it. And because I have no active control over it, I have a very preconceived notion of how this is going to do right here. Right there. Yeah. Yeah. Will it pull? Will it pull? Nope. This is why we have a class 3 protocol to separate from the class 2 protocol. Okay, if we get higher, even higher, can't get too high, pumpkin will go in. There you go. There you go. Are we gonna slide? Stay up, stay up. Yeah, they don't have quite enough. That's as high as I can get. There it is. No. Okay, we can't really get much higher because we don't really have it just falls right into the same slot every, there you go, there you go, there you go. Okay, I did want to see when we get out on the front of Barrow Point. There's that slip, 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 slip. But enough to hold it. Yeah, and slide to the rear. No. Yeah, entry, tricky. Execution, pretty much exactly where I thought. A solid 4th place among elites. Before we even get into maneuverability, I just got really nervous about M3 on wet. Because I don't know. Yeah, very good. Exactly what I would expect. Nothing out of the ordinary. Not a lot to see here. A little wide on the push. That's probably insert to tire collaboration. Coming across, yeah, they're just not as crisp, and it's the same. It's not the exact one, but it is a very similar single stage that was run in the Hammers, and that is, you know, lug. That's going to come down to lug, and apparently compound. That's M3 versus G8. I do realize. I realize as I'm saying it, I realize it as it's transpiring. We're talking about a tire that is doing far better than most, not just better than many, but the competition that it has. The competition in the Rearview is steeper than the competition in any other class. We gonna brush? No. Yeah. These are, under any other set of testing circumstance, excellent. But the more you learn, the less you know. Ignorance is bliss. And the more tires that get rear viewed, the less ignorant we are. Ignora does not know. Unfortunately, on this day for the Moab, we do know. So the evolution of the Canyon is divided into periods. There was the period before the tire test protocol as we know it, the 10 stations of the tire test protocol, before we turned it into science and started writing things down. But then there are the epochs. There was the before times, and there are the now times. And then there's the future times, but we haven't gotten to those yet. The before times is when I was working too hard and doing incorrect arithmetic, trying to add 10 two-digit numbers together in my head and get it right. Because the scores will go like, say it goes 9.7, 9.7, 9.8. So I would add all of those together, right? First add the two 9.7s, that's 19.4. And then you add them all together. That was the before times. Then one day in the middle of a video, I was like, why don't you just add up all of the differentials from 10? So if it goes 9.7, 9.7, 9.8, you subtract 0.3, 0.3, 0.2, that's 0.8. We are currently sitting at minus 2.5. So if it scored a 10, which is impossible, on wet, it would have a 97.5. So we're going to do a little bit below a 97.5 because there was a lot of tire slippage that I didn't anticipate. And honestly, I saw this tire and thought 97.5. Now, that is 2 obstacle sections. If it scores 1/10 higher, if it gets a 9.8 instead of a 9.7, we're right there. Are these going to fall off on wet? Probably not. Nope. So you can do the math right here. This rig scored a 9.7 on Slick Rut, and I'm comfortable with that. It didn't do the things necessary for a 9.8. Honestly, that looked a little better. This right here, when we got that surface clean, yeah, that does look better. So that is what we'll call a 1/10 of a point manipulation. This is the stuff that goes into the scoring. That is, let's just center frame it. There you go. So we do that 10th point adjustment because honestly, I would give it an additional 10th in the wet over the dry. It was a little better. Maybe M3 is one of those oddballs like Vanquish Red that actually likes a wet, very clean surface. Like I always imagine Vanquish Red, if you could apply a skin to the world and turn everything into carpet, they'd be unstoppable. You could climb to the moon. So we land on that ends us at a minus 2.7 because it doesn't really matter where we put the 10th, which is a 97.3, which on the leaderboard puts us immediately betwixt the Pink Dot Rover and a cut S1 Canyon Trail fitted with 3D printed inserts specifically for an S1 Canyon Trail. Fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. This is like a Rover. Did I say it, or did I only think it early on that the Moab feels like ProLine's Rover? That's great. That's the best possible rear view outcome. Just by Rovers. But by a white dot Rover, because I think the white dot Rover is better than the pink dot Rover. Where did the white dot Rover land on the board? Rover white. 98.5. So 1.2 points better. I think that's accurate. That's a 1/10 of a point at 6 stations. Right? Is that right? Anyway, that's what happens when I try to do proper math. I'm good with basic arithmetic. I'm sometimes passable at basic arithmetic. But here we are. 97.3 for the Moab, which is, I think, in rear view terms, one of the lowers. And we're here at Pink Dot Rovers. So the worst we've done on a tire you can't regularly, routinely, and openly buy. You can't go to your LHS and get them unless they have a bin of old stuff. Is a 97.3, which is still fairly lofty. We've just tested a lot of crazy tires since. And also, they're so similar to the size of a Rover that this is really just buy the Rovers type of instance. You don't need to peruse and scour the internet to find yourself some M3 Moabs because they're a Pink Dot Rover. They are an approximation of a Pink Dot Rover. Or vice versa, as I think these probably predate the Pink Dot Rover. There you go. We're never going to... Are we going to find the truly terrible, old-timey, can't buy it actively tire? I don't know, but this ain't it. It's right there. ProLine's Rover, the M3 Moab. That's all I've got for you. I'm ranted out for the moment, but worry not. It will rise up in me again. So before it does, I will take that opportunity to thank you so very much for watching. Invite you to list any questions, comments, concerns, or personal experiences in the comments below. I invite you to tune in for whatever we have next. And in between now and then, please, one and all, do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. We will see you again here from the Canyon, the 850 pack, which was at 4 volts when we started, made it all the way through the tire test. Exit, stage, nothing. Ha! That is what they call subverting expectations.